Look who it is. What are the odds you and I'd end up at the same summer camp? Relax. It's not on you. It's on our little spider friend. I've got some boys on the outside who would love to meet him. You know, take a picture, slice his throat, put his head in a dryer. And I heard a rumor. You know who he is?
If I knew who he was, he'd already be dead.
Tubes! Your family's here! Which captain of industry or high-ranking politico you posing as this time, chameleon?
This time, I have someone a little different in mind.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. You may have heard the news. They just cast a new member of the Sinister Six in Spider-Man Far From Home. Now there are actually 5 members that are rumored to be in it, 3 that we know are confirmed. So it's almost like they're building towards a Sinister Six team-up eventually. So we gotta break this down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the Comic-Con videos this week. It's gonna be crazy. There's a new round of that Infinity War Blu-ray giveaway too. All you have to do to enter that is be a subscriber and leave a comment on the video. The news this morning is a Deadline announced that they had just cast Dmitry Smerdyakov, who's the first version of the Chameleon, literally debuted in Amazing Spider-Man #1. So in addition to Chameleon now, we have confirmed Vulture, Scorpion, Mysterio, and that only makes 4. There was also reported concept art showing a battle with Spider-Man in Venice fighting Hydro Man, who is another lesser member of the Sinister Six. So already that's 5 members. Wouldn't it be funny if they only had 5 members in Spider-Man Far From Home, leaving that 6th member for the official Sinister Six team-up for the 3rd Spider-Man film? You all probably know about Kevin Feige's pitch for the movie. Sort of the one-liner synopsis is that the Spider-Man is on vacation with his friends in Europe. We know it picks up minutes after Avengers 4, but the first big place that they go to is London. The only other places that we know that he's going are Venice and Prague based on the concept art, with a big battle at each place. So you can see they're kind of building towards a big battle with a different person in each big location. So if those are going to be the only places, he might just be traveling around Western Europe. When they said they'd be sort of a globe-hopping adventure, I envisioned him going more places. But I can assume if they're going to go with the traditional 3-act structure, you can only go so many places and fight so many villains before the film gets too stuffed. And if they're already doing 4 to 5 members of the Sinister Six, it sounds like they have everything they need to build up to a genuine Spider-Man versus the Sinister Six in whatever that 3rd Spider-Man film ends up being. The really interesting thing to remember too is this is the last movie on the contract with Marvel that Sony signed. So if things went badly, this would have been their last Spider-Man film to make, which is why they probably decided to go so fast into Sinister Six in this way. Now, obviously, some of the members of the Sinister Six are different from the classic roster. Kevin Feige said they were trying to do different characters that they'd never done before. So that's probably why you haven't heard about Norman Osborn or Dr. Octopus, because they've done those characters so many times before. The really cool thing that they're implying is they're doing a version of the original Mysterio story, albeit with Sinister Six members, and it also kind of resembles the plot of Amazing Spider-Man Annual #1, where he fought the Sinister Six the first time. He just ran the gauntlet, like he would go around to different parts of New York City, fighting a different villain, having a different kind of battle. If you've never watched any of the animated Spider-Man series, there was one called Spectacular Spider-Man a couple years ago that did a version of what it seems like Spider-Man Far From Home is doing, a team-up between the Chameleon and the Quentin Beck Mysterio. So Quentin Beck provided all the tech the Chameleon needed to masquerade as Spider-Man, which was a spin on one of the first big Mysterio battles against Spider-Man. Separate comic book story, but the cartoon sort of mashed those things together, and it kind of seems like that's what the movie is going to be doing too.
All about it! Spider thief and accomplice steal E.T.
So no paycheck?
No paycheck. But this story in the Bugle, it sparked an epiphany. Mason, I'll need all your mechanical ability. And Beck, your special effects expertise.
Yeah, so what else is new? Which captain of industry or high-ranking politico you posing as this time, chameleon?
This time, I have someone a little different in mind.
Fun animation fact, the same person that created that Spider-Man cartoon is the same person that created Young Justice. It's Greg Weisman. There's going to be a big Young Justice Season 3 panel at Comic-Con this week. The really important thing to remember too is then how does this affect everything else that's going on in the Marvel Universe? Because remember how they were going to use Kraven in the Black Panther movie? Ryan Coogler was like, I really wanted that character, but they told me to sit on it and we ended up using Killmonger instead. I think the movie was better for it. He can come back anytime you want, especially if they want to do a Spider-Man Black Panther crossover. But the cool thing about them doing the original version of Chameleon in Far From Home is that he's actually the brother of Kraven in the comics. He has this really tortured backstory. Eventually, he swore revenge on Spider-Man after Kraven killed himself after battling Spider-Man, just in disgrace because he's all about being the hunter. Kraven, the master hunter. If he fails at that, he feels like a disgrace. So eventually, he wound up killing himself. His half-brother Chameleon swore revenge on Spider-Man. So obviously, the plot of the movie is going to be a little bit different. But just the idea that you can now connect Kraven, which they were going to use in the Black Panther movie, to what's going on during the course of Spider-Man Far From Home. Like Kevin Feige says, they're laying seeds that they can grow into stories later on if they want to. The main thing, though, is they're still trying to lock down Jake Gyllenhaal as the Mysterio character. In the comics, Mysterio's crimes had been thwarted by Spider-Man, so to get revenge, he tried to incriminate him by dressing up like Spider-Man, committing crimes to make it seem like Spider-Man was a criminal, then trying to prop up himself in the community to make people think that he was a hero by taking Spider-Man down in a public battle. So we could be seeing a version of that where you have Mysterio, the big villain of the movie, pulling the strings with all these different villains that Spider-Man is battling that are on their way to becoming the Sinister Six. So after the events of this post-credits scene, you have to assume that a little while's gone by, they fix the universe during Avengers 4, somehow these criminals get out. Vulture is going to be in the movie, so I'm assuming that Scorpion also breaks out of prison too. If their sentences aren't done, or if whatever they do at the end of Avengers 4 doesn't undo some of the end of some of these other movies, which I don't think that it will. I think that they'll just break out of prison. But you can understand why Vulture, in disgrace, might be hiding out in Europe and get tied up in all this Sinister Six mess, even though he kind of owes Spider-Man one. But to be fair, he did kind of pay back that debt by not turning his name over to Scorpion here. So all this evidence just points towards Kevin Feige doing a version of some of the old school Spider-Man comics that built up towards a first Sinister Six battle. Doing like a slightly different version of that, assuming that this was going to be the last movie. I'm sure that they had plans to make it a real Sinister Six team up, but now that it seems like they're going to renew their sharing arrangement and there will be a third Spider-Man film that they'll do together, they'll probably push the official team up to that next movie. Like Spider-Man battles Vulture, Scorpion, Mysterio, Chameleon, maybe Hydro Man if he really is in the movie, and then they slowly come together like this Spider-Man is the bane of our existence. We need to band together to take him down, and that becomes the third Spider-Man film. But remember, there's still a missing character if Quentin Beck isn't going to be the leader of this version of the Sinister Six. Even though he's the big villain of this movie, doesn't mean that there's always another bigger villain right around the corner. I would be okay if that sixth member ended up being Kraven in the next film, like they saved him for the genuine Sinister Six team-up. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about them doing so much Sinister Six in Spider-Man Far From Home? But in Spider-Man related news, do not forget, the Venom panel is on Friday. I'll do another trailer video when they drop that. They'll also probably be dropping new Into the Spider-Verse with other versions of Spider-Man, like we knew about Nicolas Cage playing Spider-Man Noir. So leave all your requests in the comments below. Congratulations to the latest giveaway winner, Emmanuel Romano. Please email me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. Click here for brand new Avengers 4 and click here for my Aquaman trailer preview. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.